Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another episode on Faith Stories. If this is your first time joining this channel, you're welcome to Faith Stories. On this channel, we chronicle the faithfulness of God. We talk about how God is helping us in this modern day. We talk about the miracles that is performing in the lives of people that you and I can relate to. And in so doing, we understand the struggles and we better understand the art of our Father that is in heaven, and then we hope that it will be able to help each and every one of us to navigate life and hold on to God as a faithful Father and a very true Father that is always very true to His words. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always joining us on this channel. So today I have with me the Okunrotifas. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So as a way of starting, I would just like to meet you. Can you introduce yourselves to our audience? And also, while you're introducing yourself, can you talk about your journey of faith? Like, how did you come to know God?
Okay.
Uh,
My name is Mojisola. I'm a medical doctor. I'm also married to Mr. Okunrotifa. I'm the mother of this little one right here. Yeah, and I was born into a Christian home. I knew God like very early in life because of my parents. But then I got more clarity when I was in the taking in university. Yeah. So I've got like better clarity of my journey. So yeah, that's how it has been for me.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So over to you, sir.
My name is Okunrotifa. Married to Mojisola and we're blessed with our wonderful gift here, Kito. I'm a health and safety professional by profession. And like she mentioned, I was as well born into a Christian home. I mean, Christian values and what have you. But I think I found Christ for myself sometimes in my later year in the university. Got to know about God and then I began a journey with him. So basically, that's all about me.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you. It's interesting how you both talk about how you had to discover God for yourself. It's beautiful for us to know the God of our parents, but you get to a point where when it comes to God, it is a relationship. So it's not based on what you were told. It is based on experience. So thank you for highlighting that, and we thank God for both your journeys. Now to your stories, because I'm sure the people watching this are wondering, what's your testimony? And I'd like to start with you, Okpemiko. Can you, because I just want to really understand this from your perspective, and then we'll go to Mojisola. Can you tell us how it was the loss of, and I'll call it a child. Yes, it was a child. The loss of a child. How was it for you? How did you navigate the loss and overcame, that period?
Okay. Actually, it's something we never prepared for. Yeah, we never envisaged it. It's not part of the bargain, right? But it happened, and like I say, it was unexpected. But I think two major things that actually helped us to walk through that. Number one is the fact that we know God. And of course, in His Word, He's assured us of things that will come to us. But of course, we have hope in Him. And secondly, the blessing of good people, family members, and that we have around us. They were so actually instrumental in going through that very tough period of our life. But like I said, it wasn't something we expected. So we can't say it came quite easy for us. It was a tough moment for us. Someone like me finding out first and then having to deal with, you know, getting rid of uh, the dead baby, so to say. It's hard to say, but we have to say the truth, right? So having to go through that, I mean, by myself. And the second tough phase of it was having to break the news to her. I mean, she went through CS. and she was unconscious for a while and all of that. I mean, having to let her know about what really happened. So I can't really say it was an easy journey. It was a tough one on
Hmm.
us as a family. It wasn't expected. But I mean, we're grateful to God for two major things, like I said. We're thankful to God for being God. We're thankful family member that helped us walk through the toughest. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mochisola. How was that journey for you? Like, can you take us through when you got pregnant and the eventual loss? Just walk us through the emotions that you felt and how it was for you. I'm sorry you have to go through memory lane. I know it's painful to relieve.
It's
Um,
okay.
I know.
Yeah, it was um okay, that was 2021. Found out we were pregnant. It was, beautiful for us at the time. We married in 2020. At the time I was doing my house job, so we had like a period of being away for a while because I was far away in the University of Illinois teaching hospital. That's where I had my house job, and we were living in Port Harcourt. So we had to be away for I think about 6 months, right? And then I got back. I completed my training. I got back, and God willing, I took in. I think the next month. The pregnancy was actually very smooth, very uneventful. Like, in fact, I had like the strength that I have never had. I would do a lot of work during that period. And then all of a sudden, um, I had to go for my NYSC. Yeah, I had to go for NYSC. So I registered, and as being married, they wouldn't let you stay in camp and all that. So the first day was actually very stressful. So we're asked to go and come back the next day. So I went the following day, and um okay, yeah, I went the following day. Hubby followed me the previous day, and the following day he was very busy. I think he was called from work or something, so I had to go. So an unfortunate event happened where I slipped somewhere and fell. Yeah. So we went for, and when I called him, yeah, he came around, and we did everything that we were supposed to do at the time. Only for I think about 2 weeks, thereabout, after that incident, that was when I started bleeding, and I had to be rushed to the hospital. And this was around, I think, 8 months, thereabouts. So I had to be rushed to the hospital, and that was when they had to do the emergency CS and everything. And then I had to wake up to the news that what happened had happened.
So, what was? Can you tell us some of the hardest moments, and how did you navigate? I'm sure it was like the lowest of the lowest time. How did you navigate that period to come out on the other side?
Ah, I think, like you said earlier, what actually helped us was family. Like they were. I would say I'm too grateful for them. My parents, his parents, siblings. The first thing my mom did was she took away all the baby stuff that we had bought, and she like took them away so that I wouldn't have to like look at them or something. So she took them away, and she kept me with her. So she would watch me. She would not even let me grieve.
Hmm.
She would watch me, and my siblings would watch, like they would call the ones that were around, were just like around me. They would encourage me, church members as well. Um, Even my hobbies, siblings would call me because they were not in the same city. So they were always calling, they were always checking, people were always checking my nieces. they would come around, having them around would like be fun for me. Yeah, so that I could take my mind off things. Yeah. Hobby would always, oh no, he did a lot. He would always be around me. He did everything. And at the point I had to think that, well, this thing we're going through, we're actually going through it together. So I would begin to wonder, like, how is he actually coping? At the point it was almost like everybody was fixated on me. And then I thought about it that this guy was one who had to do, the hospital runs in Nigeria is not a joke. You'll be the one, you just have to be there. They would call you, do this, go here, get this, get that, and he would have to do all of this, and still he had to be there for me. So it's I think that was actually how we went through the initial phase of it. After the whole thing, after a while, then we had to deal with it alone between ourselves. We had to deal with it within ourselves, and I would say that's where the real work came in, and that was where I would say God really placed him in my life because he did a lot. He was there. He would answer all my questions. He would he would always just have something to say to make me feel better. With the word of God as well, faith, would pray, and
So you mentioned the word of God, and we know that God is good, is a faithful God, is a father that protects us from pain and right. So when this happened, what was your impression of God? What was going through your mind about God?
it wasn't easy then because um it took me a while. One other thing that would help me was actually started working to actually put my mind off things as well. But then for what I did was I tried not to stay away like from my faith. I tried not to stay away from the things that I usually would do. Yes, it took me a while to, for example, return to church. I didn't have to return to church immediately. So it took me a while. And he was actually always there to reassure me that I should take my time. It took a while. But one thing I did was I just still tried. I would still listen to gospel music. I would still be there for the prayers. The prayers may not really do a lot to me at the time. When you say you're not feeling it, okay. I may not have been feeling it at some point, but I will just still be there.
Let me ask you a question. So you were
Yeah.
not feeling all of this, and I'm trying to just put myself in your shoes. You were not feeling all of it. Why were you still putting yourself in those places and not just like, you know what? Damn it all. I am not going to stay here because God, you could have prevented this. Why did you allow it happen?
Yeah, one thing was that I remembered that because the incident around the whole surgery, it was a very complicated case that I would have lost my life. So there was something I remember when we got to the hospital. I think maybe I should really paint this. When we got to the hospital, there was no space to admit me. There was no space. The the doctor who was on duty in the emergency, the consultant who was on duty in emergency, when he got to know I was a doctor, he took it upon himself. I don't know if it was just because of that, but I would just also believe that God also placed him there for me. He took it upon himself that he would see the case till the end. He looked at me and he told me that he doesn't know what he would see when he gets into the theater. That cases like this are very, very bad. He said it could lead to the point of actually taking out the womb.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like the placenta had detached, what we call placenta abruption. Yeah, so the placenta had detached from the lining of the wall of the uterus. So so the bleeding was kind of accumulating in my uterus. You understand? So he made sure that he told me that he just made sure that no, this case would see to the end. So even when while he wheeled me into the theater himself. This something that doctors would not do. You know, there are people like this, like the highest the consultant.
Dr. Amadi.
Yeah.
Dr. Amadi precisely.
Dr. Amadi, I would have to mention his name because he did a lot for us. He wheeled me into the theater himself. When we now got into the theater, before we even got in, he didn't take money from them. My husband, I remember, even when they were requesting for money for blood, he said that that was not the time for that. He stood his ground at the department that like everything doesn't there. You know how it is in Nigerian teaching hospital now. You have
I
to make
know
money
you
for
have
this.
to bring money, you have to buy
Yeah.
everything. They would even look at you.
So he told them no, that they should not collect money from my husband. I could hear some of this because I was in the on the bed in the emergency room, and I was told later. So he didn't take money for them from them. They gave us blood because they need blood in the OR. So we
Hmm.
got in there. There was no anesthesiologist. I
Hmm.
think the anesthesiologist at the time, maybe she had worked for like a long period and maybe she needed a break. So she said that she was not coming. So I was lying down on the theater where they had moved me. So I was hearing all this, and I knew that, oh, time was not on our side. And I could
Hmm.
hear them, oh, they were conversing, oh, there's no anesthesiologist on ground. And the theater workers, they were like, Dr. Amadi, why are you bringing in this patient? Can you just refer her? We do not have space for her here. And I was like, oh my God, I've gotten to this point. Where can I go again? Because this was like the teaching hospital in our state. That means if I had to go to another hospital, that one is even farther. We don't know time, distance, and what will happen. So I just laid down there and I was just praying, like, and he had to call on the consultant anesthesiologist. I think he had to go make some calls and whatever it is he did, he left. And we waited for a while. And finally, they came and they moved me in. And I could still hear the workers talking. Oh, why are you bringing her in? You know, please refer her, refer her, refer her. But this man stood his ground for me.
God used him actually.
Yeah.
God used him.
He stood his ground for me and kept on repeating to everybody there that this lady is a doctor and I'm going to do my best for her. And all of you are going to do your best for her. Like he was just chastising them and pleading with them, like we had to just do surgery. And then the surgery started. So I
Hmm.
think when I looked back, yes, I remember that there was the loss. But when I looked back and I'm like, my life was preserved.
Hmm.
That was a reminder for me. So even whenever I wanted to think like, oh, maybe God has forgotten me, why did this happen to me? Yes, I would have all those questions and be sad and all of that, but I would always have the reminder that this is me and I'm alive here today. What would have been the case if I was not here? So that was my, I think that was my driving force. Yeah.
Even in the unpalatable situation, God was still faithful. I mean, yeah.
Hmm. Wow. Oh my God.
Because I remember I was told when I was to give my consent, I was told that okay, these are the possibility, death, loss of womb, and what have you. I mean, I didn't think about it. I just told them with my wife we just had to sign whatever we signed. So I mean, with all those possibilities we were being told, I mean, none of that happened. I mean, she was alive, and womb was alive. Of course, we have Peter after then. So I mean, even in that situation that didn't look very good, I mean, God was still faithful. Showed up for us, yeah.
Yes, it was. It was, and it's always faithful. I was just trying to picture everything that you went through. And I'm sorry you both had to go through that because it is a picture of a failed system because it shouldn't be like that, right? How did you overcome fear? I'm sure that there were a lot of thoughts in your head like, oh, will this end the same way? The apprehension. How did you overcome, you know, till you give birth to your baby?
Okay, that was another interesting. Oh, that was an interesting one for us. This little chap decided to really show himself this when he was coming. So I remember when that previous one happened. Whenever my hobby always tell me, he said that this one, anytime I'm like being sad, maybe when I see my period and all that, he'll be like Mochi. He say when baby comes, what would you do? Because baby will actually come. What will you do? So those things actually kept me going. And then when baby finally came, it went well, but then it was almost like my body system became very someone who would not fall ill like as much. But then with him, oh, I think I had up to almost three admissions. I was diagnosed with asthma in pregnancy, asthma that I never had. I had to deal with that. Malaria, just had to deal with a whole lot of stuff. But then hobby was always there to encourage me. My mom, my siblings in law, my mom in law, they would always check on me. They would always call me, and my friends too. My friends were always like, even though they were not so close by with me, they would always call, to keep track. The ones that were close were there for me. And then, as God would have it again, He placed me in Dr. Madi's team again for antenatal. He placed me in Dr. Madi's team for antenatal. And one incident will not leave my head. Dr. Amadi actually held my hand one day during my antenatal and prayed with me. And in the initial stage when that was very profound for me. He held my hand and he prayed and said, Muji, this baby you're carrying, so you're carrying a star and you will have this baby. And he declared over me, he prayed with me, which is something that is rare from a doctor. He did that for me. And the other member of the team as well, there's also Dr. Waka. Dr. Waka would follow me up. If I miss any antenatal day, they would call me. Even the times I had to travel, they would call me. Oh, we didn't see you. Yes. If I had any complaints, they were there for me. They followed me back to back. Even during antenatal, Dr. Waka will make sure I hear my baby's heartbeats whenever he's doing using the Sonicade, even though it's not working. He would make sure he would make sure that Moji, you have to hear it because he would tell me that you're going to have this baby, and he would encourage me that I would have the baby. And I had the best doctors, really. I had the best doctors, best family, like if you have a good support system, you don't know what you have. Like this man right here, I disturbed. I just, I literally almost forgot how to cook because he was the one doing everything for me. You know, he did a lot. So I think that's what actually kept the fear was there. The fear, but with all of this and all these people around me, the fear had no choice than to disappear. Yeah, and I had Bible scriptures that I placed on the mirror in the room.
Yeah, I need to mention this. I mean, she turned our room to something else. I mean, different Bible scriptures, different angle of the mirror, different angle in the room. I mean, you just keep seeing all of those things. I mean, I think we kept those things when we were trying to relocate us.
Yeah, I made sure I kept them.
Yeah.
So I would use it as a reminder. So I would go there, I'll remind myself. I would listen to what they call it, sermons. A lot of pastor sermons actually helped me. I'll listen to a lot of them and trust God. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's really beautiful. When you write scriptures down, it hits on a different level, right? It connects on a different level. When as you're turning in the word, when the devil drops something in your mind and you look at your mirror and you just see another word, it's like so. It's really beautiful, and we thank God for the gift of people. God bless all the doctors that they went above and beyond, and God, they allowed God to use them, and we thank God. Okay, so to bring this to a close, I'll just want you to take turns, You can go first, Dr. or Mojisola, whichever you can decide on the order. Any last words to anyone that's going through a similar journey and they're thinking in their heart, if God is good, it wouldn't have allowed this. What is your message of hope and encouragement to any woman, any man who go through, the similar journey that you went through?
I would say hold on to God. Like just waiting season is not an easy it's not an easy season. It's not a time for you to separate yourself. It's not a time for you to you can have all the meltdowns and all the thoughts and all the tears, and that's okay, because that would actually help you to heal, and to help you to go through the season well. But do not separate yourself from your support system. Do not separate yourself from, if it's your church that's your support system, do not separate yourself from them. Look for, I always say this, there's actually a support system for everyone. Look for your own. You could find it online. Some people might be like, oh, they're facing discrimination in church, or they're facing one or two, because those would also actually come, you know as a woman with trying and waiting, because you want to actually have to show yourself in church and all of that. Do not leave the fold. you know if Look for a way to look for a place, because he was like I said, was my therapist. So he was the one I could vent to, the things I couldn't say to others, the things I couldn't talk about. He was the one I could I could say it the way I felt. I could say it with him, and he would listen to me, and he was always there to just help me along the way.
Okay, I'll just say briefly that, like I said earlier, it's good that in difficult situations we are not so blinded by the toughness of the situation that we don't see God's faithfulness, right? The singular fact that God has probably kept you alive, that alone is an indication that God is still there and He can still do wonders with you, right? I mean, above all of that, I keep telling people when they will call that, I say I'm grateful. In fact, when they brought the baby to me, the first question I asked is that, how is my wife, right? We can make more babies. God is faithful. So what I would say to people in that situation is that things will happen. He said in life, tribulations and trials will come, right? He said, when you go through the water, I will be with you. That means there can be water, right? Flooding. When you go through fire, I will be with you. That means there can be fire. There can be these tough times. But even in these tough times, he's assuring that he's going to be with you. He's going to be with you. I mean, that alone tells you that God is real. God is faithful. So the fact that we go through tough, unpalatable times and seasons in our lives, we don't really tell that God is not there. God is there. Some things will happen to us, some of them to build our faith, some of them to develop, or some of them to prepare us for where we're going to, right? Some of us to prepare us for the wars and whatever we have ahead. So all I will say to people in that situation is that know that even while you go through the valley of shadow of death, there's a promise that God will be with you. So those things will happen, but it doesn't erase the fact that God exists, and build a very solid relationship with God. Like I said, the only thing that kept me going during that time was the conversation I had with him, and he gave a response. I can't imagine if that didn't happen. I mean, imagine if I'm vulnerable to and she's vulnerable. I mean, just imagine the impact of that on our family. So basically, that's what I would say. My advice to them is see through that situation and find God's faithfulness. Remember what He said in His words. These things will happen. Yeah, they may happen in different ways, but through it all, God is faithful.
And thank you very much, Stella. Thank you, Pamikwa, for sharing. And
Thank
one thing that I
you.
just to you listening is, they both talked about having a relationship with God. It is a relationship that you have built that you can leverage in times of trouble. If you don't have a relationship with someone, when trouble comes, you cannot just pick up your phone and call them. It becomes very awkward and difficult at that point. So build a relationship with God and leverage it as much as you need it. Is a He can see you right where you are. He can see the pain you're going through, and he knows how to bring you out of it. I hope that you've been encouraged. I hope you have learned one or two things just by listening to, this couple, share about their difficult moments and the blessings that came with it. And I hope that you're encouraged to know that God is good, God is faithful, and He loves you. He loves you furiously. He's not afflicting you because He loves you too much to even afflict you. Until we come your way again, God bless you.